4 episodes, that's what season 1 was: a layoff, an AI disruption, a squeeze, and the invisible work that holds everything together. We covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, and we left some things on the table.
And today, we're going to go back for them.
This is the season 1 finale of Sister Code. And we wanted to bring home some of the points we talked about in the previous episodes by talking about them one more time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to Sister Code. I'm Anne, and I'm here with Preethi, and together we talk about people-first leadership for the age of AI. This is episode 5, and it's our season 1 finale. All season, we've been redefining the climb, what success actually looks like when the rules keep changing, what leadership costs when nobody is watching, and what happens when the floor actually falls out. Today, we go back for what we left on the table. So if you are just discovering Sister Code, welcome. We're glad you're here. Start with episode 1 when you get a chance and work your way forward. But stay for this one. It stands on its own. And if you have been with us from the beginning, thank you. This episode is for you. In episode 2, we talked about the layoff, the identity rupture, the financial fear, the which one was I question. But we barely touched on self-compassion. And I want to go back to that because when the floor falls out, the first thing that most of us do is blame ourselves. We run through the list of what we should have done differently. We question our worth. We perform composure for everyone around us while we are crumbling inside. We try our best to be brave for everyone else. And no one said, be kind to yourself. It's not a weakness. It's truly survival. You tend to turn to people who you're close to, who you can openly admit and talk about, perhaps cry. I know I did a lot of coloring. I enjoyed going back to my coloring to kind of keep my mind focused on doing something and actually accomplishing it. And you must grieve. You must grieve for the lost position, for the confusion, for the disbelief, for the anger. You must grieve for who you were and what you went through. And after you grieve, you start moving on to those next sessions. Tell yourself that you are worth it. This is more than a job. You are worth more than a job. Your identity never is within a job role or a description or a title or how far you've grown. But sometimes even that is okay. I remember I've sat and I've just sobbed and wept, perhaps behind closed doors, perhaps in front of others. You've got to give space to do that because these feelings and these emotions are real. This too shall pass. This too shall definitely pass and something better is coming. I had to keep reminding myself about that. So that's my version of how self-compassion went. I know it's different for everyone. There is no right or wrong, but I do truly believe that you have to give yourself time to grieve what has happened and to acknowledge that whatever happens henceforth is going to be new and different, and it's a new phase in life, and that's okay.
And it was so important that you brought up self-compassion. Just last week, I took a coaching behavioral test, and you know what came the least for me? That was self-compassion. Yeah. I scored 16%.
Yeah.
So it is so important. Yeah, and then you brought up really good points about how everyone has different process in healing. And sometimes some people want to talk about it. Some people want to grieve behind closed doors. But whatever whatever is right for you. So I'm glad you really, really talked about them. In episode 3, we talked about adoption, the fear, the awareness, the first principles. But we didn't really talk about who you call when fear wins. So we talked about psychological safety for your team, but not for yourself. The support system, the people who hold you when the uncertainty is too big to sit with alone, and that was missing. Really, a lot of times it was you, and you know that, right? In addition to you being my sounding board, what worked for me was also having the opportunity to talk about and brainstorm ideas and some of the best practices with folks who were embracing this and sharing what they were learning. I remember earlier on where I was able to discuss with few of my colleagues, specifically one where who was really spending a lot of time understanding and experimenting and sharing what they were learning to me, and then we were learning and sharing with each other. So I was really invested a lot of time in podcasts, books, etc. So we would share with each other the podcasts that we listened to at the time. I think there was a couple of ones that I was really looking forward every week for. Like, and there was one from Microsoft, which was, I think, called AI Lab. So this was my psychologically safe place to share my fears, brainstorm ideas. And I'm definitely incredibly indebted to this person who's my colleague. And I remember the first book which they recommended to me was Agentic Artificial Intelligence. And that was a great read. That was one of the first book that was really written about agentic AI, etc. So this was very pivotal for me to anchor myself and develop a plan for myself and where I want to invest my time, and also come up with a plan for my team in the early days.
That was powerful, Preethi. Thank you. And so now in episode 4, we talked about the invisible work, the glue, absorbing stress from above and below, and we never asked that question underneath all of it. What happens to you? Who absorbs the cost of being the absorber and holds everyone else?
Yeah, I'll take that one because I have been on both sides of this. Yeah, it is. There's no easy way to say this, but what I would say here is to take time for yourself. Again, coming back to the self-compassion, what you said, right? And look inwardly and think about what you need. For me, it looks like books and walks, long walks. So long walks where I'm listening to audiobooks or podcasts help me to disconnect and get lost in something else. Sometimes I don't even listen to anything. It is just nature and listening to the birds. I recently started running. Well, I'm not sure if a 13, 14-minute mile can be called a run.
It's
But
good.
playing
That's good.
loud music, trying not to have your lungs explode, can take your mind off other things, you know. I've also found a few friends who I can share some of my challenges with, and that helps me to process and get clarity and sometimes even brainstorm ideas about how to process these things, and that provides me the clarity that I need. Sometimes I even have to disconnect and say I am going to go for a walk in middle of the day because I need to disconnect at that point of time. Although I recently read a book recommended from a friend again called The Law of Garbage Truck by David Polye. The book talks about dumping your garbage on people and taking garbage in. So I'm trying to be a little careful in dumping my garbage on others. I'm practicing asking for permission before I dump on others. But yeah, so I think you have to find what you need in these situations. And coming back to, again, self-compassion, what you need, how you take care of yourself. Give yourself the grace that you would give your people or give others. I always go back to that.
Awesome. Preeti, so, the three pieces that we just spoke about, right? I think it all ties together of really what we wanted to bring back to the audience was how you and I handled this, what we think about how you absorb this and psychological safety. These are all very important pieces, and it's going to look very different for everybody. It's not going to
That
be the
is
same.
right.
So can I ask you one more question, Preeti? And this is probably not something we prepared for. Would you have handled it the same way 15 years ago? And if no, what was that difference? Or what do you think that difference is?
Probably, I would say my immediate answer would be no. I would not have handled it. I would have handled it very differently 15 years ago. I didn't have the experience that I have now. I haven't counted on people being my biggest strength at that point of time. It was all about me and how I would handle it. It was, again, going back to you need to be strong. You are the one at fault. I think always looking up at this is just you and you alone. You are the only one struggling with this situation or scenario. So I think I'm grateful for the experience that I have. I'm grateful for the journey that I've been on, the successes, the failures, all that is culminated into me being where I am right now. Not perfect. I know none of us are. It's a journey. We are continuing to learn. With each experiences come a lot of wisdom.
100%. And I want to say the same for me, Preeti. If 15 years ago, I think it would have been very different. I think I would have been more emotional, more heartbroken, more blaming it on myself than where I am. This isn't for a particular segment or an age group. This is for everyone. Right now, the tech world, it's the same landscape. We don't know what's coming, when it's coming. And we talk a little more about that as we continue in this podcast. I think for me, it's been so important having you by my side. So that tribe, the community that you have, and being able to be myself and realizing that you don't have to conform yourself for any other person or company for that matter. Because at the end of the day, we define and we need to own our journey. And so you start handling things a little differently. You start seeing things a little differently. And maybe that is wisdom of age. I don't know. Or maybe it is. And I think for my audience, what we would like to state is you are not defined by your job. This is a journey. We all have a journey. It's a walk that you take, and you've got this.
You know what hasn't changed?
What?
In the 15 years?
What?
From 15 years? Having you by my side.
Yes. And I think that is the strength that both of us draw on, because we both are growing and learning as well. So make sure you have your tribe. You need that tribe, your community, one person, maybe two. That's what will see you through episodes like this, because you have a champion to cheerlead you, you have a champion to celebrate your wins, and you have a shoulder when you have those low seasons as well. Awesome.
So this is our final episode in season 1. So what did we learn? You want to go first?
Sure. So number one, I didn't realize how much work this is going to be. This is a lot of work, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think I've improved my artistic skills, being able to slow down, talk a little clearly, a whole bunch of things. But it's a lot of work, but I've thoroughly enjoyed it. That's one side of it. Making this podcast truly is healing. Walking through what happened, being able to step back and name it aloud, seeing it from a distance, looking at it with a different perspective as I talk to you, and getting it into a form that someone else can consume. I think that's a big highlight for me. And so really what this podcast has taught me is that it's worth every minute. And, the fun and laughter that we've had in between when we make these atrocious mistakes, and as we listen to ourselves and look at our expressions and then burst out laughing, I mean, all of that has been so healing, that there are lighter moments in life, even through these very painful experiences, where it's going to continue. And we know this is going to continue for a while. We're not at the end, right? And so that's what this podcast has taught me, that life can give you lemons. Let's make some lemonade out of it. And I love making lemonade with you.
Yes. This was an interesting learning experience, but it was fun. We learned a lot. Thank you for taking the time to do the behind the scene work. You did all the editing and all the everything that needed to happen behind it. And we have to call out one person and thank her. Your daughter, Lisa. Thank you. You did the intro music, and we love it. Audience love it too.
Thank you,
Thank
Lisa.
you, Lisa. We love you.
Lisa was able to tell us how our music was terrible, so she made it right for us.
You know what else I learned? I
What else?
learned that you've always been a natural speaker. I need to practice a lot more. You have a speaking career ahead of you, so I knew that. So go after it.
Thank you. I've always enjoyed chatting, and you know that, and so it continues.
In all seriousness, what surprised me most about your story was how you held it in real life, during the recording, all of it. Going through everything you went through and still showing up, still telling the story with the clarity and grace. I knew the story. When you said it, the story out loud from the beginning to end, I could picture you going through it, all the emotions, and how proud I was of you to be able to say it out loud like that. I'm too emotional and would not have been able to say it like how you did it. Super proud of you, sis. I think that is exactly what it looks like when they say, take the power back, and you took the power back. And about myself, what surprised me about myself was the depth I could go to. The conviction that I found when I started speaking, especially some of the subjects. I know I am very close to the AI revolution. So those things really resonated with me, and I could talk about them. I didn't know I had that until I heard it back. Actually, going back to listening to the podcast was, I would say, initially it was cringy, but then it was okay.
You mean our voices didn't make you fall asleep? And thank you for that, sis. I appreciate that. And I know both of us are a little teary-eyed. The honest truth is, in our journey of life, there are people we look up to. And I think we both have been very lucky that we have some very strong women in our family where we've seen that strength, right? And I think I've realized that even the strongest among us is weak in certain moments, especially in moments like this when you have to redefine yourself. It's scary. It is really scary, even for the strongest. But having that support system around you help you get back up, help you get back on your feet and realize that this is not the end. This is perhaps the beginning of something new. So that was a lot. Now, we gave you 4 episodes of things to do. Name the gap, build your ally map, fear versus awareness, never systemize this. And honestly, you could do every single thing that we said and still get laid off, still get restructured, still find yourself on the other side of a call that you didn't see coming. There is no guarantee. That is the state of our industry right now. And pretending otherwise would be doing you a big disservice.
This is what we do now when it happens. And for many of us, it will. The difference between surviving it and being destroyed by it is not strategy. It will be the people. And it is the people who are your tribe. The ones who cheer you on when you are having a great day and pull you up when you're sinking and it feels like you can't take it anymore.
Exactly. Find those people, but be that person. That is the work that no restructuring or layoff can touch. And when the worst happens, know this, it was not about you. It never was about you. You are more than that role, more than that title, more than that list on someone's spreadsheet.
Exactly. The view from here, after everything this season covered, is exactly right. Not because everything is fine, but because we are still here, still building, still showing up together.
And so to end, Season 1 was about redefining the climb, what success actually looks like when the rules keep changing, and what leadership costs when nobody is watching. Season 2 is going to be about something totally different.
Yes, it is about the rebrand. What happens when you have been in one role, one company, one identity for so long that you don't know who you are outside of it? What happens when the market shifts and the path you were on no longer exists? Lateral moves that don't look like progress, but they are. Ageism, industry pivots, how you tell a new story about yourself when the old one no longer exists. It is not a climb, it is a reinvention. And we will be right here navigating it with you because the world and the industry as we know it are changing at a faster pace than what we have ever seen. But what doesn't change or doesn't need to change is the first principles and your values. I strongly believe that staying true to those will help us all navigate this.
So thank you for being here for Season 1. Thank you for the messages, the feedback, the questions, the honesty.
And to everyone who signed in to listen to every episode or to a single one, thank you.
And we're Anne and Preethi. This is Sister Code. Season 2 is coming. We'll see you there.
See you there.